Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome. Thanks very much for joining us. Sometimes you realize why you wake up in the morning and why you work so hard, because you see the future just there around the table. Our young minds in their brilliance, but also their enthusiasm. And as we talk to you about the KPMG Green Bowl, well, in partnership with the Department of Education Services and the wider community, we'll give you a reason to celebrate as we shine our light on our gifted minds. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. I'm truly honored once again to be able to sit here and facilitate, not just be inspired, but as I look around at where we are and what we have, we really see a bright, beaming future with great promise and potential. And I think as prospective employers, but also as engaged citizens, sometimes Mr. Joel, from your perspective, you're looking not just at positioning your entity to be a good corporate citizen. You want to increasingly be attractive to that student in high school who's graduating university and maybe considering postgraduate studies. As we talk first and foremost about your position, title, and what we're here, just as an individual, both in that space as sort of the head guy or even as a colleague, for our young minds, they're thinking of their studies and their grades, their potential careers, what they do now means for them now. How do we get them to think and appreciate that, but also 30 years from now?
First off, thanks on behalf of KPMG, thanks for having us here. The Brain Bowl, this is the 11th year we've done this, and it's something pretty near and dear to our heart. It's great to see the future leaders of Cayman and business here on the island to get involved in this. It was a great day of competition yesterday. It's great to see very intelligent people come out of their shells and participate in an event like this, and it's inspiring. It's nice to see the teachers and the parents and show up, and various people in government as well.
All right, and then if I may ask, at KPMG, I'm told you're not just a partner, but what was the title? Head of Citizenship. And thinking back to some consultancies have done, thinking back to just reading, we watch roles evolve in terms of how entities position themselves. Back when we started working, it was the personnel department, the human resources, now it's talent development and recruitment. There are all these different titles, but they translate, I think, finally into what we're trying to do: develop minds, create personas that mesh, but understand that the impact that we're having on our workplace or environment, but also on us, is meaningful and sometimes ever-changing.
Yeah, absolutely. At KPMG, community involvement is something that's very, very important to us, and that can be whether it's being involved in the community, whether it's being involved in an environmental initiative or a learning initiative. These are things that we are very near and dear to our heart. And certainly candidates that we look at, that's something that we find, or we look to ensure the candidates are involved in those types of initiatives.
And for those who are joining us online, whether you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook or just listening to the radio, just imagine, if you can't see the visual, around the table we have some students who are inspired, by their educators, but also from the Department of Education Services, the director, Mr. Mark Ray. We hear words like inclusion. We hear making sure we have a nurturing community and all these things in our schools that we deliver, but then to see, as we saw evolve yesterday, all the competing schools vying for the title, but at the end of the day, it wasn't so much about competition as, fellowship, camaraderie.
Indeed, and I think the important offshoot of these types of competitions is the preparation, the work by committee that the teams undertake, the teamwork that they demonstrate, the collaboration. So ultimately, while they are definitely flexing their intellectual prowess, they are exercising talents and attributes that we want to see engendered in young people coming out of an education system, one, and certainly what I'm sure KPMG and other corporate partners want to see coming into their businesses, right? Young people who can work together, young people who can problem solve, who can think critically. So we're very, very excited to continue to have partnerships like this with KPMG, who's one of our critical corporate partners, and other entities out there who do these or give these types of opportunities really to our young people to, like I said, not just showcase their talent, but to work collaboratively and show they can solve problems.
And I think increasingly we're starting to recognize that the competition doesn't have to only unfold on the football pitch, the basketball court, or elsewhere. It actually can be just as, athletic, in a sense, nimble and vigorous in any sphere. If I might, before we go to the break, as an educator, I want you to set the stage for us for when we come back. I'll get each student through you to introduce themselves after, but from your perspective, quick intro of yourself. Why, Cameron Prep and High in this particular, this is the second year back to back. Why is this important to you? Oh, I'm reminded, see we have good producers. 3 years is a 3P,
So I've been the head coach for 2 years. This is my second year. Yeah, I came here. It was pretty much this time last year, and I was with Charles Player and Alec. But it's just something that I've never done before, and I kind of said yes to. You just see what's going to happen, and genuinely, it's been a great part of my school year. I look forward to coming back in August, at the end of August, getting a new team together, and we're practicing 2-3 times a week before the competition, which is early in the school year, but after that you're kind of like, wow, these students, these, as you said, these future KPMG employees or whatever they choose to do are just so rigorous, and so their breadth and depth of knowledge is just absolutely incredible, and they'll answer questions and I'll be like, where did that come from? And it just kind of gives me, I'm just able to see how amazing and bright these young minds are.
I think many of us can see the evolution in teaching, and how sort of the teaching and learning paradigm is shifting. And for many of us, we come from a place where there's a curriculum. You had a test, you teach to the test. But increasingly, interpersonal skills, the other things that we talk about, we can see in these events. But beyond that, how does preparing for this complement and to allay any parents' fears, you're wasting time with this, get on with the math lesson and the biology lesson, so that we understand that this is as much, if not more so, instrumental in their knowledge acquisition as is the other stuff that we as parents in particular want them to be taught.
Well, I mean, evidently the 5 of them, including many, like all of the students, ever, are just have so many things about them that just make it they're such a pleasure to teach in the school environment. But these 5 and some of the others had chosen to take part in this in addition to their countless studies, their countless other commitments in and outside of school, and it just shows their willingness to kind of try a new strand of something, and for some of them that hadn't done it before, it was something that they just took to as in like a duck to water. And it was kind of like, okay, they're really good. I'm really happy and proud of them and how they've conducted themselves throughout the whole process. It's been amazing.
A duck to water or a politician to a podium, either way. You know? All right, we're going to pause and take our break. And again, when we come back, maybe a brief intro of the students. What attracted you to this? How did that sort of complement your studies? What sacrifices? And I use that word carefully, and I'll explain in a minute why. Do you had to make in order to fit this into your schedule? Would you do it again? And why you did it in the first place? All right, we're going to pause and take that break. When we return, we invite you to please rejoin us.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
It's an exciting time for the Cayman Islands. For the first time ever, the Cayman Islands will be the host country of Miss Global International 2024. 19 beauties from around the globe, including the Cayman Islands, will be competing for the prestigious title of Miss Global International at the Grand Coronation on Sunday, October 13th at the Hotel Indigo. Celebrating 20 years, the Miss Global International pageant will receive a Cayman-kind welcome, and you don't want to miss it. Come cheer on contestants from Guyana, Jamaica, Cuba, Philippines, UK, South Africa, Peru, Latvia, Turks and Caicos, San Andres, India, Hungary, Poland, USA, Luxembourg, Trinidad and Tobago, Chile, Argentina, and of course the Cayman Islands. For tickets, go to mgicayman.com or call 939-2223.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments October 16th to the 19th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Wayne Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drporterkman@gmail.com. That's drporterkman@gmail.com. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 946-9020.
Sign up for a Flow Mania 1 gig bundle from Flow and get 5G mobile, 1 gig Wi-Fi, and $500 Foster's gift card. Sign up in store or online today at discoverflow.co. Flow Mania is 1 gigabyte Wi-Fi at home and unlimited 5G mobile on the go. Sign up today and receive a $500 Foster's gift card. Terms and conditions apply. Go to discoverflow.co.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And if you're ever looking for a reason to be an educator, I think look no further, because this is the reward you get. It's not a huge paycheck only, and long hours of vacation. I mean, those are the perks of the job. I don't do sarcasm, well, Mr. Ray. We who teach because we see the reward in the eyes of our students, and it's not just when they graduate from, it's when they return decades later and say thanks, almost reluctantly, acknowledging that old people actually know something sometimes, right? As young people, we don't always know everything. But with that, though, I again want to publicly congratulate, give my prep and high for this, third victory, right? I got it right?
So.
Consecutive. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jordan did it. They followed in his footsteps. And to KPMG for sponsoring the Brain Bowl every year. I want to go around the table, and as we were discussing initially during the break, team captain, you do the intro. Are you going to allow the rest of the members to introduce themselves, or are you going to do that? I just checking. You go on tip. Welcome. Intro.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alec Benjamin Bennett, and I'm the team captain of this year's Brain Bowl. And the rest of them, I think they'll be able to introduce themselves better than I would. But
here's the paper, you can read it.
This year's Brain Bowl is definitely, having done it for the past few years, it's definitely been harder than last year because the questions definitely more random, as the answers are more random. So sometimes, as I was listening to the questions in some of the other rounds, then I heard the answer, I thought to myself, who would actually know that, But it wasn't bad. It wasn't too bad for us to not be able to win. And as a team captain, using my past experience from having done it in the past and also the mistakes we made during the rounds, I would assess the mistakes we made and what has worked in the past and use that to create the strategy that we would use for the next rounds. And I communicated that to my teammates, and as you can see, it worked.
But that's not just being adaptive. Right? This is where I think as an educator, you can see those things that we tried to teach, but we can't always teach from the textbook or whatever it is that we use these days. You have to learn it in the real world. Back to what employers are looking for, that agile mind that can respond to clients as well as colleagues.
Yeah, it's something that I find so impressive about not only the Cayman Prep team, but all the participants in the Brain Bowl is they're all clearly very, very bright. Yeah. But to be able to get up on stage in front of all these people where everyone is looking at them and they are able to think thoughtfully and reason through a lot of these questions, because a lot of the questions aren't necessarily, say, one-word answers. There are certain calculations you have to make for the math component. And these people speak very confidently, and they're able to put themselves out there. And I find that very impressive.
And this is what it leads to an end. But as we go and continue with, introing the rest of the team.
It's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry. My name is Dylan Levy. I'm one of the contestants of our team. How I found Brain Bowl, this was my first year of Brain Bowl, and not gonna lie, during the practices, the questions were extremely difficult. Some questions I've never heard of. Especially the literature ones. Those ones were something, but as time progressed and the practices kept going and going, I adapted to the questions, and I expect, that's that, and that's that. And I really learned from everyone in our group, and I'm very thankful for that. And I feel like I can grow off of this, and I can benefit with my studies in the future, and I feel like I've bettered myself from this competition.
That's a win all around, man. I think, what was it, a baker's dozen? We can count the number of teams, and I think they all would probably say the same. But as we continue, Charles, you want?
Hello. I'm Charles Player. This is my second year. This is my second year competing and winning in Brain Bowl, it was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. I'm really gonna miss it next year when I'm off and can't do it anymore. I really enjoyed just like the camaraderie and team building it made. I got to know everyone so much better than I could have before. Because it's just one of the main advantages of the competition is such a general competition. I would learn things about people that they know that I would never have learned before. So it really just made a really friendly environment, both inside the team and out with like other schools. I got to mingle with other people, meet new people that I would have never met before outside of this competition, and it was just overall like a great experience.
Indeed. Miss Emily, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Emily Ching, and this was my first year doing Brain Bowl as well. And I think what initially attracted me was the teamwork aspect, because we're used to competing against each other in school, but now we're competing and utilizing all of our strengths. Like I had like literature, and me and Charles covered history, but then Alec was like all around good at like Bible and math and science. Dylan had sports, and Zach just had bunch of random knowledge. But I think it was a really great experience to be able to work with these people and also interact with other schools there, because I used to go to Triple C, so I still saw some of my friends from there. So yeah, and they were our main competitors, so yeah, but I'm glad we won.
Yeah, well, congratulations. And I wanted to maybe ask, because it's very much, competition is competition.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the event. We see it in sports, and I use that as an analogy because too many times as parents we don't appreciate whether it's chess or whether it's badminton or whether it's football or whether it's swimming or tennis. You get to interact with other players and participants. But all around knowledge, the savant, Mr. Zachary.
All right. Hello, I'm Zachary Garnett. This is my first year doing Brain Bowl. The way I got on the team was, I think I was waiting in line to get lunch, and Miss Crean was the teacher on duty in the lunch hall, and she just called me and was like, "Hey Zach, would you like to do Brain Bowl?" I'm like, "What's that?" But I do like general knowledge, and I'm very competitive, as Alec would know. But the practices were really fun, just splitting off into smaller teams, but also just working together and against each other. And there was a lot of competition and a lot of excitement.
Yeah.
Standing on chairs when you're on the edge of your seat. But
So Zachary, if I may ask, you used the word competition. I think sometimes we who are competitive, it doesn't matter you're playing cards with your father, whether you arm wresting your brother. If you're smart, you wouldn't arm wrestle your sister because she'd beat you. Oh, I'm talking aloud, sorry. It seems like a bad thing, but yet, if you want to win, and I'll come to Joel in a minute, you want to win that competitive bid to the next government project or the architectural commission, you have to be competitive. The science, award. Being competitive, driven, in your mind, negative, positive, does it motivate? Does it make you hesitate?
I think it's got a lot of upsides, and it can help better you and just better the quality of a human you are. Sometimes it can be negative if you're losing. When we were losing one of the rounds against Triple C, and then it took a toll on our mental. But our team captain Alec, slid the paper down, giving us the strategy, and the rest was history.
And thanks. Strategy, competitive. Those are things that we see later on in the boardroom that we expect the new recruit to have, but they didn't.
There's nothing wrong with healthy competition. Everything in your life will be competitive. Certainly, if you want to achieve a certain level of success. One of the other things that I really enjoyed about the competition is let's say even if Zach knew the answer or Alec knew the answer to the question and the team would buzz in, they typically didn't answer the question right away. They would confer with their teammates to make sure that they had a consensus before they answered. And that was something that I really found really interesting about this competition, is that there was that team element even when one individual knew the answer already.
Understanding the team dynamic, recognizing the time constraint, but getting to that space where you have a chance of success. I mean, there's competition from conception to the commission. There's always competition. Yet strategy, competition, we use those particular words. As we take this final break, screen, when we come back, if through you we could ask, as we look at education, teaching, learning, knowledge acquisition, I want to ask about some of the other preparations, some of the questions, and some of what you're doing so that maybe all of us as students of life, students who are going to face examination of some part, employment, employment assessments. Sorry. How do we succeed in the measures more than just the material benefit? Would that be fine?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Join us right after the break.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning.
Ouch!
When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And I believe if time would allow, we could spend the rest of the afternoon and still not grow tired of our students. You guys motivate and inspire. Ms. Green, as an educator, it's probably a perception that many of us have with parents is how you prepare your students, your lessons, you deliver the curriculum. You are expected, by all of us, especially the parents. I keep emphasizing what us as parents require and ask of you. And then that may not always translate well. What does this mean? Is this extracurricular? But we can see how beneficial it is. As I asked earlier, and as we're going into the break, share with us somewhat, and then I would like for the students to maybe talk a little bit about the competition. Certainly always interested in some of the fascinating questions, but if you would, Ms. Green.
Well, obviously we have to fulfill the curriculum. That's kind of, point one. But then as you've got to find a way to approach it and a way to deliver it, which is going to entice your students, which is going to keep them interested, which is going to, make them excited about your subject. And obviously everybody has different ways of teaching. You go and see another teacher and you think, we're doing the exact same exercise, but I would have not approached this at all in the same way. Mm-hmm. At Capeman Prep and High School, as staff, we get very frequent professional development courses, and so I've just done one the other week. I just did one the other week about different types of engagement, and so I've started using those, and it's just interesting how you see your students perceive the activities that you're presenting, and how if I were to approach that same element of the topic in a different way, I may have less or more engagement, and how different that is when it, and also with regards to age. Okay, so when I'm teaching 11-year-olds versus 18-year-olds, how am I going to alter this activity or alter this piece of information that I need to deliver to make sure that they know it in a way that is conducive to them?
Right. Joel, that professional development, same in a business and professional setting.
Yep.
The expectation of how do we keep staff engaged, quote, motivated, incentivized, goes beyond pay.
Yep. Absolutely. A motivated and a happy employee is keen to continue to learn. And if you're putting it in a format that people enjoy, then they are keen to continue.
Yeah. And with that, I was going to ask Mr. Ray in a second, because it doesn't matter the school or, as Ms. Green said, the age of the student. It's about that engagement. As we go around it, Mr. Ray, first to you. When we look at education services and your role, you're sort of the lead motivator and policy sort of implementer, perhaps. But we need to have a vision, and we need to make sure that all the students across all 3 islands, irrespective of age and grade and school and the like, they're being, incentivized, motivated, nurtured. Help us to help you achieve that objective so that the win is not just at the KPMG Dream Bowl every year, but it's in life.
Yeah. No, agreed. So at the Department of Education, we are the operational arm. Or our ministry, they're the strategy and policy arm. So our parent ministry, they will have some oversight of what happens obviously in government schools, but certainly across the board, there's certain things that we would expect private schools like PrEP to produce and incorporate into their operations. So there's a vision overall, overarching for education in the Cayman Islands, because we want all schools, all students to succeed. And at the end of the day, any policy that's implemented, any strategy that is thought through is targeted at success for all students, but ultimately success for the Cayman Islands, because we're building for the future. These are the future leaders. Yeah. These are the people when we're old and sitting in our rocking chairs on the porch, they'll be making the decisions, right? So ultimately, we have to make sure that we put things in place that will support them, that will help them to have pathways to success, and recognize that we'll always be here to support you. There'll always be a community around you to support you, but there's accountability and ownership that you take for your own success. And we want to engender that. And I think that's what partners like KPMG and good teachers like Ms. Green, that's what they do.
Yeah. That's it, man. And we won't grow old. We just become better sailors. If I might ask, if it's okay, not just for future reference of those parents who might whisper to their children, hey, be a part of the Dream Bowl next year. But what are some of the things that you were doing, the questions, the preparation that came up? Could we start with the fellow who's the general knowledge, guru? Zachary, what about you? I mean, anything inspiring, anything intriguing, anything that sort of threw you for a curve even?
Well, like during practices, we always strategized between who specializes in what. So we have Alec, who has the entire Bible memorized back to cover to cover. You can't even ask him a question without him interrupting you and telling you the answer. So that was a very useful in the competition. But also Dylan with the sport knowledge, Charles history, and also just like recent affairs. And then Emily with literature, and then me coming in with which animal has the largest tongue or whatever.
Was that conscious? I mean, because what you're talking about is sort of an economic argument, specialization and division of labor. You knew amongst you who knew what, and was that a conscious decision, or you automatically knew, if you need it done right, give it to Miss Emily?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's how we kind of formatted our team. Like at first, Dylan wasn't a part of it, but then we knew that Dylan filled in the gaps in sport knowledge, but also Cayman history and Caribbean history, which was one of the topics in.
Very complimentary. It's the team captain. The motivation, the ability not just to assign and I don't want to say delegate, but ensure that people are participating and you have a conscious outcome. How does that then translate into your specialist knowledge, but also encouraging others to explore and expand beyond their sort of comfort area of science or biology or sports and the like?
Well, as it relates to expanding your knowledge, as much as you may think to yourself, well, I only really know about this topic. You may be surprised how much you actually know once you, for example, if your school has a team that's doing it, if you attend at least one practice, at least try it out, you answer some of the questions and you think to yourself, actually, I knew that. Then your confidence will build, and you never know. You may end up being a member of the winning team that year.
Yeah.
So
that's it. A win builds your confidence, and it's not just a win at the competition. It's reassurance that I knew that, and then that sort of motivates you to excel. Mr. Levy, what about for you? I mean, what does it take to get you to be, at your best as often as you want?
Well, usually I would assess my own weaknesses. So during the practices, I would hear a question and I have no idea what's going on. Like, what does that question mean? So I would do research on my own time at home, trying to learn new things every single day. I was reading before the competition actually about all the U.S. presidents, and I was trying also to memorize every single capital for each country because my geography wasn't the best. So I just tried to build from my weaknesses and make them strengths.
That's what we do, personal self-development. Charles, you're shared you're not going to be because other endeavors await you next year. What do you say to those on your team who may get opportunity to continue, but your other classmates who might want? What's your invitation to them as to why they should do it and what they should do to start, sort of getting on the radar?
Yeah, so I think everyone should be going up for Brain Bowl. Absolutely, I think it's I really think it's a great competition, and it's very especially with Miss Crean, she's very
Love that, thank you.
She's so supportive, and it's such a huge motivator to have that supportive coach to get us to want to do better and learn more and become better at the competition and study past Brain Bowls and past Brain Bowl quizzes. I think it's just a great thing that really builds up your confidence and give you great opportunities.
Thanks. Miss Emily, we want to, as a student, close with you. Share whatever you want, but also maybe, if you wish, as you went through the competition, either in practice or at the day of, did anything stand out that resonates with you, whether a question or a comment or we have those moments even in our teens.
Well, I think this year a lot of the questions were quite random, so it was just testing how much we were up to date with current affairs, because I think that was a really big topic, but also Caymanian history and literature. But I think the one question that stood out to me was the one was asking which country singer had people mimicking her by wearing blonde wigs, and we were debating, we were Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, and then when they said it and it was Dolly Parton, we were we would have never ever gone.
Yeah. That's the first person we thought of.
Who else would you think? Yeah, that was a question that stood out to me.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. And as we close it out, I want to maybe end where we started. But if I may ask again, this to you, on a personal level, I found that our young people, our own children, you guys know more about everything than we give you credit for. Not just history, but things that are happening now, whether it's politics or economics. Is that true? You know more than what we actually give you credit for? You're more aware, more informed?
I think there are some things that I know Miss Crean and Miss Gibson, our coaches were when we answered the questions right, they were whoa, how did you guys know that? Because I feel you as a person also don't realize how much you actually know until you're in a room with people who encourage you to think critically, and
And thank you. And that wasn't for me to feel a sense of validation. That's for me to remind us as parents that sometimes we don't give our children credit. I'm not going to ask any father here to confess to what I'm about to, but we see our children as just devices and we want to take them away. But we need to first remember that we have them 2 or 3 of them at a time. in saying that, I wanted to close where we started. And to you, perhaps not just a public congratulations and on the other partners in sponsoring facilitating. This is not just public engagement. This is a significant investment, and some would put in brackets, being accountants, expenditure. But it means well. I think we had a couple of conversations years past of maybe this could be all year round. It could be in every school. Each school has sort of inter-school competition that brings the best team from that school, and it becomes a national thing.
It's a really good point because we do the schools competing against each other in soccer and other track and field and other types of activities. Potentially we could expand this to do it multiple times a year. Why not?
It's amazing to be able to sit there and just feel not just the enthusiasm and intellect. Mr. Ray, being an educator today has its rewards, and I think this is one of them. So thank you to all in the administrative department, but all of our teachers and educators, and to our students. Congrats, man! Continue to learn and excel. You'll be amazed of your success and your achievements. It's not just a paycheck and partnership. It's actually to come and talk today. That's the reward. Have a great rest of the day and the week. All right, Ms. Green, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right,
thank you.
Stay tuned. Susan's going to sing when we return.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. Questions to ministers and members of cabinet dominated the Parliament agenda today, with queries about the Older Persons Active Aging Centre, the government's relationship with Charity R3, and a request for an update on the building and fit-out cost to date for the Poinciana Mental Health Facility. Tune into Breeze 105.3 FM for live coverage of Parliament. In international news, damage assessments are underway from Hurricane Milton. The storm brought powerful winds, rains, and flooding to much of Florida after making landfall along the Gulf Coast as a Category 3 storm last night. Milton knocked out power to millions and spawned 150 tornadoes across Florida. At least 4 people have been killed. Ethel Kennedy, the wife of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, who raised their 11 children after he was assassinated and remained dedicated to social causes and the family's legacy for decades thereafter, died today. She was 96. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
On the 6th of December, 1960, at 8:20 a.m., the St. Clair Petrolor vessel from National Bulk Carriers was 950 miles off of Trinidad, carrying 29 Caymanians. The ship was rocked by 4 separate explosions in the space of just 30 seconds, causing various parts of the ship to erupt in fire. The first explosion was in the bow of the ship, the second in the number 4 hatch, the third in the number 11 hatch, with the fourth in the aft tunnel doors. Vigorous attempts were made to extinguish the intense flames, but with no success, and the captain gave the signal to abandon ship, and the crew filled up and lowered the 2 remaining lifeboats into the water. Following a head count, it was discovered that 2 crew members were missing and unfortunately were never seen again. The lifeboats were tied together and a sea anchor was cast out to prevent the boats from drifting too quickly. The St. Clair sank that afternoon, and the men continued to drift at sea for hours until being rescued that night by the English ship named the Mary Ellen Conway with an Italian crew. The men were transported to Brazil, where they were later flown home via Trinidad and Jamaica.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And I think today being what it is, we'll have, she has to tell me to call her Mystic now. Because, she wears many hats, and always see her as a lady who has such an inviting smile and presence. So, Mystic, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Dwayne. Very grateful for the opportunity to be here.
Well, it is, as I said privately, and I will most willing to say publicly, an honor. Because when we think of health and well-being, when we think of what our impact is on others, sometimes it reminds us of how we are being impacted by something and not always willing to surround ourselves with others who nurture, who care, who love, who not only show compassion, have empathy, but actually purpose and meaning, and they're genuine. And a kind word can go a long way, but sometimes I don't think we understand how cutting, our words can be. Yeah. And in this day and age, we need to show that kindness and that agape love. So, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So what's today? I mean, it's my sister's birthday, so happy birthday to that sister.
And happy birthday to her. And actually, it's my niece's birthday.
Shall we sing?
And I've forgotten about it. Happy birthday, Ellen. I love you.
It's just so much love.
Seriously, I forgot.
See, I reminded you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're most welcome.
Yeah. But today is also World Mental Health Day, Dwayne.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was a great opportunity to come on and speak with you again about K-Mind, the mental health helpline of the Cayman Islands. And as I've said before, I am the face of K-Mind. Because, we need to ensure that we protect our volunteers. And also, sometimes people can be very uncomfortable, the public, if they know that Dwayne is a K-Minder and maybe volunteering on the line, or that Susan, Jack or Joe or anybody. So it's best that we don't know, right?
Right.
But we've been very fortunate to have David with us for the last year and a bit, actually. Who is sadly leaving the island soon. But he's been volunteering with K-Mind, and he is a Samaritan, trained in the UK many, many years ago when he was at university and followed through. So normally, I'm the wing walker of K-Mind, but today I've actually got a wing man. And it's really to look at what is the role of a volunteer, what makes a good volunteer, and maybe, to understand from David's experience, how that has been and how he felt, or feels actually, that he's helped out with K-Mind.
And again, Dave, it's a pleasure to have you back, and anytime you get to visit and return, certainly want to invite you to share. Pick up on the first thing, Ms. Dipner's perspective. Sometimes we want a level of, sort of to remain anonymous, as it were. In the K-Man context, we're told, whether it's true or not, so through you we want to figure out that that's more important than, say, a large metropolitan area where the probability of you interacting with that person is so remote, whether you're the physician, in any capacity, or whether you're just receiving a call, or you just see someone in a shopping center. Is that important in K-Man, that if you're a volunteer and you receive a call about something, that is little or no sort of notoriety on your part, who the person is that is answering, or does it really matter?
I think there'll be variability in callers in terms of how important that is. And I guess it touches on the theme of stigma that we touched a bit on last time, which is, unfortunately, there is still, some people sometimes still feel stigma associated with struggling with mental health and finding things difficult. And I think one of the ways to increase self-acceptance and to feel better about ourselves sometimes is sharing, because if we keep things to ourselves, generally it can breed feelings of shame and unease about things. But there is that thing to break through. People do worry about opening up and if they might know someone. I think I mentioned last time that in order to reduce suicide risk, we need to create a society where people are more able to say, I'm struggling, I'm not coping, I feel overwhelmed. And in doing that, they will likely get past it quicker. But I think what certainly a caller can be assured of is that they speak to someone in K-Mind, a volunteer, who will be non-judgmental, compassionate, accepting, and will respect their confidentiality. So it won't go beyond the person.
And the reason that I keep looking at it, and I think sometimes we don't appreciate the impact of statistics. You have a small community, the probability of this thing being replicated is higher than perhaps in a larger thing. But stigma, and I wrote down the word judgment, you shared it as well. So from the perspective, person picks up the phone, understands, and we'll tell them, the number for K-Mind to call, it's answered, they're chatting with someone. Then and there, we're helping to ensure that that person feels supported, safe, and gets whatever needed assistance. But if the person now knows, oh, David, that's you. How are you? Sometimes, in my mind, that could play out well and go, "Oi, Jean, what's happening, Miss Dipner?"
Well, it has actually happened, Dwayne. So I have taken calls before.
Okay.
When someone called in, and I recognised the voice. Right, but I'm not there to say, hey, how are you? I'm maintaining the confidentiality. I'm allowing them space and freedom to speak. And if they want to identify themselves, fine. And then after there was a significant discussion and a need, and they were asking for something, and I allowed them to explore those things, then they said, oh, by the way, Dipna, this is such and such. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm really glad you've called. Okay. Then, and we continued the conversation. But going back to, what you asked earlier too, and what David was saying is that we've also had a number of calls to K-Mind earlier on, particularly during COVID, right? When people would say, I work for government. So is this really confidential? And I would say, yes, this really is confidential. The only time that K-Mind is not confidential is if we feel that you're an active risk to yourself or others.
Right.
Then we would try and elicit from you where you are, what your name is, how we can get to you, how we can get help to you. But over and above that, we don't keep any information.
And the reason why, I thank you for sharing that, because I was hoping that in our discussion to get to that, and you mentioned the role of the volunteer, the training expectations. So I was looking at the Cayman landscape, just for ease of numbers, 100,000 people. Look at, say, the US in particular, where we all watch the television. There's some talking head, and the audience of millions of people, and the person there talking about some personal family event. The rest of us have no clue. But as you drill down, Uncle Bob is on TV chatting about something. Somewhere somebody knows, right? So with that in mind, is it then in the Cayman landscape, if we know, and I'm told when you have support groups, the more in the group there's confidence, there's confidentiality, you can offer support so that, Jean doesn't go, too far because she knows she has something. Does it help that you have a wider trained supportive group, or is that level of anonymity important?
No, it is very important, and I should add that if somebody was very uncomfortable, if they did, call K-Mind and they might recognise a particular voice, that they say, but they just be honest and say, I think I might recognise you. I think I might know you. Can I talk to someone else? And we always have a backup support. We always have someone else that we can say, okay, I want you to ring back the line, and this other person will answer it.
Okay. Flip that over then. In the example that you gave, the call comes in, and with the phones, it's kind of hard. You may think you recognize, but it may not be necessarily. If I heard you correctly, the caller says, "Oh, didn't I think you're great, but I would want to talk to somebody I don't know." Should you, as the call is received, recognizing that it's John, or should you say, "Hey, all right, is it okay for you to, as you did, leave it be for now"?
I would probably leave it be, unless it was someone that I had a very intimate relationship with, right? Or had a past intimate relationship with, because again, we're making assumptions about people, and that goes to stigma, right? That we're judging people, and we're saying that, well, just because you're such and such, it may be someone in a place of authority, right? But does that mean that I should be uncomfortable with a senior member of the Cayman community ringing K-Mind? I shouldn't be. I should be open and honest and accepting.
Okay, so with that, I think the strength in a community, and when we talk about nation building and the like, is having the resource. We talk about resilience, with resolve, but that resource within the people. We talk about food security and the like. If your community can draw on resources more readily, more immediately, more accessible, it's strength. So that training and, what's the role of that K-Mind volunteer?
There's quite a bit of research showing that, as I mentioned before, having a confidant, someone we can confide in, is associated with resilience, is reduced suicide risk. And some people either don't have someone in their network who they could open up with, or they prefer to speak to someone completely separate, where it's not, they might feel that they're burdening someone close to them, and so it offers that a person to talk things through with, which will be prone to release some emotion, contribute to resilience, reduce suicide risk, and I think just to touch back on the point of stigma, it's interesting because over the last sort of 30 years, I've done quite a bit of work in therapy, as in seeing people providing therapy as well as the as the volunteer work. And what you will often find a pattern of, when we talk about this initial call, I'm really worried about sharing this with someone, maybe I've not spoken to anyone before about this. Once the person makes that breakthrough, two things might happen. One is they go on a journey and they get to a point where they may not necessarily choose to tell lots and lots of people, but suddenly they can talk about it, and that can also help other people. Right. And also, I think in that situation of opening up, they develop the tool of being able to open up again. It's a little bit like when we step outside our comfort zone in certain ways. Initially, it feels very, very uncomfortable, but then our comfort zone expands and we have growth. Yeah. And suddenly we have people who are ringing in for the first time and really stepping outside that comfort zone. develop an ability or a tool such that it's less difficult for them to do it again at another point in their life when they need that. So I think there's some positive things from making that breakthrough.
And after we spoke earlier, missed it now. People get why I say that. Yeah. You wear many hats, and today that's the one hat you're wearing, not the other many other hats. Yeah. The reason is that they reference suicide risk, and we probably don't appreciate how sometimes some of us entertain thoughts, and as fleeting as it may be, it may revisit us. We may find ourselves in that space where all of a sudden, or seemingly from what I've been reading, and then where do we turn? Having Care Mind available, but for the wider community, how can we be more receptive to the spouse, to the sibling, to whomever, so that they know that not only is it's Care Mind, but you, the individual, may be a resource, just to be a sounding board, just to be an attentive ear, or do you have to have specialist training to listen and be compassionate?
Not. You do not. Some people have it naturally, right? Some people are very good listeners. Other people, it's required through training, through experience. And, we're talking about today, the theme of mental health is mental health in the workplace. So, there's a big drive to, educate the public and to use mental health first aid to make sure that people are trained. But the great thing about our training, the Samaritan training, is, one of the core pieces of it is active listening. To really listen, Dwayne, and not just with our ears, but to give an individual full attention. So when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you in the eye, I'm making you feel that you're being heard, that you're being understood, that you're not being judged.
And that's a skill, but it's also, I think, something that people don't realize how taxing. It's one of the reasons on a personal level I find, having a phone, as important as it is, it's distracting because you're talking. I would like to think I'm an active listener. I'm engaged. I'm concerned. I may not understand, but I don't want you to go away thinking, I wonder if he was planning his lunch. Did he order his? And sometimes we talk to people, and that's what happens. We feel that even though they may say, "Hey, how you doing?" before we could even answer, they're 15 steps down the road. But you can't be that as a volunteer on the other end of the phone. But you should not be that either when your friend sits across the table and he's sharing something that just babbling in a sense. So how do we get to that space where we're active listeners? We're not necessarily mitigating suicide risk, but hopefully, but we're also ensuring that we have a bit of empathy, that we understand that with a little compassion, that person may be talking about the ding on the car from the parking lot leaving work, when really what they really want to talk about is, something else, but they start somewhere. Or is that not how it works?
I think when we talk about open listening, active listening, I think in day-to-day life often, we'll speak to people around us and maybe they have an agenda, or as you say, they have things on their mind, and we all only have so much attention. And so if part of our attention is taken up with other things, we have less attention free to really listen. I think also people are very quick to give advice, and sometimes particularly people close to us, because it can be difficult when someone close to us tells us of a problem that they're really, really struggling with. It can be difficult to sit with that and just reflect back and say, that sounds really, really difficult, because we want to fix it straight away. So what we'll do is we'll say, you need to do this or you need to do that. And obviously that's a little bit different than open listening, because we're almost like imposing our agenda. And I'm not saying advice is always a bad thing, but I think listening, when we're really, really listening to someone, we're really giving them that space. We're asking exploratory questions. We're not making assumptions. And so we're saying, how does that feel? What did you think when that happened? Right. Sometimes we might pick something up in the way someone says something, as well as the content of the words. And then we could explore. We could kind of say, I'm picking up that, you feel quite afraid about that. Is that the case? And then they might say, no, I'm not. Or they might say, yes, I am. So sometimes we might explore things. And also we'll get the person to explore their own mind in listening, which might be, we might ask a question like, for example, Dwayne, if you were telling me about a problem, we might say, rather than give advice, what do you see as your options there? Do you see any possibilities? What are the cost benefit of different options do you feel? Right. And then in a sense, the person talks it out and sometimes gets clarity. Or if you said, I don't see any options, then obviously the reflection would be, that sounds really, really difficult for you at the moment. It sounds like you're in a difficult place, and then that would maybe be a stimulus for them to expand.
Is it then that the call is made to Care Minds, you're having a conversation? Is it therapy from what you just shared, Ms. Dibner?
No, it's not a boutique style therapy at all.
It's distinct than the dominant types of therapy these days. I mean, there's new wave therapy, but traditionally more CBT.
Cognitive
behaviour therapy. Sorry, you've got other acceptance and commitment therapy, mindfulness, dialectical behaviour therapy.
Yeah.
You've got all these different things. It's different than that. It does share some elements with the work of a gentleman called Carl Rogers, who did some stuff in the 60s and 70s, and he emphasised two key ingredients to therapy. One of them was a thing what he called unconditional positive regard, which is basically whatever someone shows up with and speaks about, in order to create the therapeutic ambience, you create a sense of acceptance and non-judgment. And I guess that's based partly on we haven't walked a million miles in someone else's shoes. We don't know everything that's happened to them. And so refraining from absolute judgments. So it's this unconditional positive regard, a sense of acceptance. And the other one is what he called non-directive listening, which is very similar to what we were saying about open active listening, and exploring. So he talked about those were the two key ingredients of that therapeutic approach. And it was, a type of therapy, that Carl Rogers emphasised, and I think he had some good results with that. So I'm not saying it's identical to that, but it does share some components.
And as you share, I'm thinking empathy, active listening, play a role in that. You're not asking leading questions, you're not dictating and directing the conversation a certain way, but then you're attentive, non-judgmental, and you're trying to make sure that this is not something that has, to be elevated, let's call 911. Mr.
I think part of the Rogers approach is the notion that very often people have the answers and the solutions within them, but you try and create a context which can help them get to that. And part of that sometimes is we have, in a sense, as human beings, loosely, we have an emotional side and a logical side. Yeah. And sometimes we might feel the most intense emotions, but logically we might think, I don't quite know why I feel so scared, so upset. But we still do. And it's because we're not purely logical beings. But by talking it through in a listening context, we work through some of those emotions. The emotions come down, and then we're more able to see the wood for the trees, and we're more able to apply logic, if that makes sense.
Would then, and I ask that we understand, would it then be on the other line, the person saying something? You recognize that most times, as you shared, we know what we need to do. We just want someone to tell us it's okay to do that thing or not do that thing. Yeah. Do we then, as the recipient of the call, do we then tell the person, hey, it's okay, go ahead, do that or don't do that? Or we just listen, leave them to decide, because we're told therapists don't make decisions for us. What do we do in that case, Mr.
We support individuals, right? And if they feel that is the right thing for them to do, and it is safe, and it's not a harm to themselves or others, and there's no significant consequences, then we would enable that. We would not enable it, but we would support that, because we believe in self-determination, right? But if we believe that it is something that is going to harm them or someone around them significantly, that's going to have dire consequences, then we would have to explore that for certain.
And as I listened to you, one of the things I was so really grateful that you reached out, that we can have this conversation, have it in the future, is that there are many things we as individuals we do that we are unaware of the impact. We are so consumed by things, or sometimes lack the courage, and yet the impact that is being had on someone close to us. I like the word they use, that you're intimate. For me, that intimate isn't sexual. That's intimate where you're close to someone. This person is super important to you. You know a lot about this person. You know their thinking, their coming, their going, their fears, their aspirations. If we're going to have that intimacy, that love, that agape love, we need to listen, actively listen. We need to recognize that, the three of us go in our regular lives and we have a job to do. We have a private life. We have roles to play. but we have burdens to bear. We feel overwhelmed. We feel sometimes, apprehensive, anxious, excited, alarmed, all those things. Huh?
Even angry.
Oh, I thought you said hungry because I feel it too. But angry, no. But we feel those,
frustrated,
and yet we're supposed to exist and perform and be.
Mhm.
And yet, where's the empathy from those closest to us?
Mhm.
So, what you do as a volunteer, I think maybe more of us could be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we've just completed another round of training. We work very closely with the Kids Helpline. So Emily Kelly and I just completed another round, and that's a great collaboration. Actually, we had a fantastic cohort. We had a great group of people, as we've had for the last 2 times. But it requires it's a big commitment.
Yes.
Right. The training in itself is 4 3-hour sessions over a 2-week period, so it's quite intense. But that's good because it's wonderful to see a group of strangers come in and to unfold and to grow together and to be motivated that they're doing something important.
Yeah, I want you to guide me first, Ms. Dipner, and then David. On a personal level, I thank 2 people. One, I can thank publicly, Miss Norma. Right. I like to read, and I guess it's called personal development. So I learn something about something, understanding as one of my mantras. A little learning is a dangerous thing. So just because I may know something about something, I'm only realize I don't know anything about it. Just that little, and being supported in her encouragement. Oh, it's good. You take these courses, you do this training, and you do these things. Someone else sort of complemented that, and you got confirmation. Then a third person weighs in and go, oh, that's a bad thing. You're doing this, and you think you're the be all and end all. So we have people in our lives that see an act that is positive, good, nurturing, and helpful, and commend you for it, encourage, pay for it, whichever. Someone comes along, compliments it, gives it credence and confirmation, and then there's someone who's probably close. Say, oh, what are you wasting your time for? So with that being probably our lives, and as we close the discussion, what do we say to people who see these courses, and whether they want to be a volunteer, but see these, and as parents, as siblings, as co-workers, as friends, just like you take an extra math class, you've gone your professional development to get your CEUs, having something like this can add great value and be life-saving. It's my view.
Yeah. So, and on that note, exactly, one of the things that, several of the, the volunteers in the last couple of weeks said that they have learned so much in the course of the Samaritan training that they've actually taken it into their work.
Yes.
And they feel that they've been better for it. And what was interesting too is that they even said that people noticed that their approach, and they had very good approaches. I mean, these were a great bunch of fabulous people. But they said, wow, there's something, that was great. Why didn't I think of doing it that way? And they were like, well, it's all part of the Samaritan training.
That's it.
And so that then, not just it goes to your work, right? But you also take it home with you.
Yeah.
And that's what's very valuable about it.
David, would you agree with that? Because I'm in agreement with her. The little thing that you do just for your own edification, not because your employer or is mandated by something, you do it and you go, oh, that actually helps you as a husband or a spouse or a parent or a friend. But it could be life-changing as well as life-saving.
That's right. And it can filter out and affect other people's lives in a positive way when they're able to understand. And if we can find solutions to our own challenges, sometimes we can share things with other people about our journey, which can maybe inspire people, if we've come through tough times. But I think, as you say, we get conflicting advice. There's a saying in psychology, sometimes we're prone to see what lies behind our eyes rather than what appears before them. And so different people have different things lying behind their eyes. And so some people may say, that's an absolute nonsense. And other people may say, no, that's really helpful. And I think there's probably not one size fits all. And I think there's different levels of benefit and potential for different people. But I think this notion of trying to find things that help life work better and trying to find ways of trying to understand people better, through, as you say, through the Samaritans training and through really good listening is a positive thing that goes beyond just the K-Mind, service.
Well, we have a standing invitation to either come on independently or with Ms. Dipner. But as we close off, finally, how do we contact you? What do we do?
Okay. Dwayne, I have a poem here. Would it be okay if I read it?
Can you read it?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think Miss Susan will appreciate this, right? Being the poet in the house. But I think it's a fine example of what it's like to feel this inner emotional turmoil, this inner physical
ode to
pain.
David?
Is it ode to
David?
No. That would be a lullaby.
You know what? I'm only glad I asked that.
Anyway, but I think it's a great depiction, right? So, and with this being World Mental Health Day, and it's just a reason why we need to be kind to each other, be considerate, look beyond how someone might appear. Okay, so it's by Donna Ashworth, and it's called Sadness Comes. Sadness came to tea last night, as she's often done before, but I didn't let her in this time. I stopped her at the door. I'm off to meet with friends, I said. Your timing isn't right. I can't allow your atmosphere. It's not the place tonight. But Sadness wouldn't take the hint. Her manners lacked finesse. Her pace was slow and heavy, yet she kept up nonetheless. And even when I took my place amongst my laughing friends, she squeezed herself right in between. Her boldness never ends. And I was sure my friends would see the spectre at the feast and somehow think me lesser for inviting such a beast. But no, their warmth was undeterred, as if nothing was anew. I think perhaps they know by now I sometimes come as two. And even Sadness seemed to glow, a lighter shade of grey. To know that she's accepted seemed to lighten up her day. So let your sad accompany you. Don't think her hard to bear. No need to face her all alone. Just pull an extra chair. And we at K-Mind are that extra chair.
Yeah.
So our number is 1-800-534-6463. Our hours are 6 p.m. until 11 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Thank you both. And I think that poem is not only fitting because it speaks about a week hence on Wednesday coming in a conjunction with the Youth Services Unit, the National Poetry Competition. We have it live. So in song or prose, in dance or drama, we can find much, whether it's play therapy, but just being a listening ear, being receptive, empathetic, but also an active listener. We learn so much if we give willingly, lovingly of ourselves. And David, thanks very much. The empathy and the compassion you exude, thank you very much. Man.
Thank you, Mr. Dwayne. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Mr. No?
Yeah.
Always a good smile. And thanks to Miss Susan. Now, when we come back, I think it's fitting. We started off a discussion with good folks at KPMG and prep school with the Brain Bowl. We had you sort of in between, and now Miss Christina Borden comes in, and through the program she's going to tell us about, we'll see how important it is for us to draw alongside each other, and in particular our young people, and now more than ever with what they're facing, and maybe ask ourselves, how much are we hindering, hurting, and harming, or are we helping? Thank you both.
Thank you very much, Dwayne and Radio K-Man.
All right. Stay tuned. Join us after the break.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit Valley Med Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with Valley Med Pharmacy.
Exciting news! The future of energy is coming to Cayman. Join us at the Carolac Resilient Energy Conference and Exhibition, co-hosted by CUC at the Grand Cayman Marriott from October 20th to the 24th. To register, please visit www.carolac.org. That's CARILEC.org for more details. CARIC 2024. Transitioning together. Informed, inclusive, innovative.
The rich flavors of Italy just arrived at Subway. Say ciao to the Italianos. Our 3 new Subway Series recipes, carefully crafted with an Italian flair. Try the Hot Shot Italiano for an enticing and zesty touch. The tastier than ever Ultimate BMT, generously stuffed with a mix of ham, pepperoni, and salami. Or go all in with the creamy chicken bacon Alfredo. New Subway Series Italianos. Chef-crafted greatness in every bite. Elevate your game only at Subway. Delizioso.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And I would almost joke and jest and say that when I retire and resign and do something else, I'll miss the good folks here, because I've always felt nurtured, inspired, encouraged, motivated, and fulfilled. As we have on a daily basis in each segment, sometimes many are they, that give us so much to celebrate. Well, to Miss Christina Bodden, thank you so much. As I said to Nurse Tipner earlier, the idea that we live in a small community where we can look without going too far afield and see people who give tirelessly. They give lovingly. They bring, as Miss Marlin talks about, their time, their talent, their treasure to the table consistently. And that is amazing.
Oh, yes. It's so funny. When I was in the waiting room, I heard you say the word support, and I thought to myself, you are still giving the most fantastic interviews, interviewing the most interesting people, doing the most crucial things for our community. And I thank you so much for your contribution, Sterling. It means so much to our community, and I love to listen to your show. And thank you so much for having myself, Christina Bodden, and Tim Rossiter from AMA Cayman today. What you do for our community is just invaluable. Thank you, Sterling.
I thank you for that. You don't always think of what you do if you're not a physician. Those are our friends, one in particular, as she comes to work every day, you understand the importance. You're a legal scholar and educator, but we all bring something to the table, and if we bring it with humility and with love,
yes,
it comes. It's the notion that we live in a small community, and it's 8 billion, the World Health Organization may number, we're still one.
Mm-hmm.
We are an individual, even if we are triplets, we're still one.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Well, so many times I've come on your show and you've been so gracious to me to talk about Girl Force 100. And that was a program that we ran for many years in the high schools. And I wanted to give you an update on where we are right now in our pre-career youth readiness in the community that we're so proud of. So after 9 years of running in the high schools and mentoring over 700 young female students in their pre-career readiness and their career goals, we actually brought that to a close in June 2024. And you and I have had some fantastic conversations over the years, Sterling, about making sure that we were reaching as many students as we can, and making sure that the group of students that we were reaching with our programming was diverse, regardless of background, regardless of gender, regardless of culture, regardless of where they came from. And I have to say that really resonated with me. And I thought long and hard about, how we were directing the effort that we were putting out. And I took a long step back, and we revamped and we kind of restructured, and we have come out with something that I think is truly fantastic. We've come out with a program called Career Masters. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging are really what we think is very vital to our young people, not only in their day-to-day lives, but to their understanding of the world that they are entering. And I think that that applies so much to the workplace. We all work with diverse teams, people with different backgrounds, different views, different ways of approaching things. And I think it's really important that those young people understand how to navigate themselves in the workforce, in their lives, and how to appreciate the views of other people. And so we wanted to make sure in this new program, which is launching this month, actually, in our participating schools, and a huge shout out to John Gray High School, Clifton Hunter High School, Cayman Prep High School, St. Ignatius Catholic High School, Cayman International School, and Lehman Scott High School, to create a growth mindset in our students and positive habits. I read the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and it just changed my life, right? And I'm sure you probably read the same thing. It's just a foundation for us to make sure that our young people are emotionally and mentally and skill-wise ready for the workforce. And so that's what we've been working on, and that's what we came today to talk to you about. And we were so fortunate to partner with some of our ministries, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth, and the Ministry of Border Control and Labor. But more fantastically, and we are just so excited to be on board with Emma Cayman, who has come in and given us a fantastic contribution on that as well.
And Tim, this is where we bring so much to the table consistently that we sometimes don't always appreciate. It takes everyone in the mix to make something happen. Yeah. And even that, thing that's over here that's distracting impacts it. So welcome, Tim, and share with us, because I got lots of questions, but talk to me too.
Oh, well, thank you for having us, Sterling. I was honoured to be invited along today. I mentioned that I was coming to a few people, and they were absolutely blown away, very excited, because it's such a fantastic show. Look, but I mean, everything that Christina has said is what I support. I've been a huge advocate of education in Cayman for, I guess, most of my time here. I've taught at ICCI. I'm now an investor in and director of a new primary school, and I've written a script that was released about financial services. So I've really got actively involved, because I was always very, very surprised that there wasn't enough education about financial services and also about Cayman's place in the world, right? You talked about diversity, equity, inclusion, and if there's a place in the world that represents that, it's Cayman. I mean, it's a melting pot of cultures, and it has absolutely achieved phenomenal success as a result of that, in my view.
And Christina, this is where you look back on almost 1,000 young ladies as part of the Girl Force, but now you're including all.
Oh yes, we want all students, and we want them regardless of their background. We want them regardless of their socioeconomic background. And what I fell in love with at the tail end of Girl Force, and what we are focusing on in Career Masters, is I want a student from CIS to be working on a project with someone with a student from Clifton Hunter. I want somebody from John Gray to be working on a project with somebody from Cayman Prep. I want those relationships, because that is the workforce. You will be working in diverse teams. You'll have projects, you'll have deadlines. And I want the kids to have the ability to work in teams, the ability to have differing views and be able to work those out, the ability to complete a project on a deadline. And so those are the types of things that we will be focusing on. And we're going to recognize the need in the youth community for change and career empowerment. We're looking for kids between the ages of 15 and 18, and we will serve them through tailored mentorship and formal programming. This is a one-year program. It is intense. It is immersive. But each kid will leave with a placement, whether it's a scholarship, an internship, a work experience, or some type of pre-career opportunity, and that is our promise to those students that come into the program. And I think it's interesting what you just said, because I don't think necessarily that people realize how much financial services contributes to education and things like this. But this whole program is supported by Emma Cayman. And the thoughts and ideas are coming from our teachers. It's coming from our ministry officials. It's coming from us. But it takes a village, just like you always say. And so this is something that I'm incredibly excited about. I think the kids are really going to benefit from it.
How do the students become a part of it? Selected by teachers? Do they self-appoint and nominate?
So I thought about that for a long time. We originally thought we would reach out to the students. But what we want is a concentrated cohort of students. And we also wanted to include Lehman Scott, right? So we have just shy of 50 students for our first year. because it is an immersive program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an added responsibility to their daily schoolwork too. And so we are going to be working with our teachers who select students from their schools to put forward for the program. If there is an educator or a teacher or a student who is interested in being part of the program, they can reach out to hello@career/masters.com to get involved, right? We are almost at capacity, but we do have space. We've accommodated every student who has reached out to us so far, but we do want to keep the program at a manageable pace because it is an intensive program, and it's meant to be, because the student that walks in is going to be different from the student that comes out.
Yeah. And this is where I think, and thanks for explaining that, and I keep saying to parents, just like I say to voters, we blame others, but are we the parent, are we the voter as much engaged and involved with what's happening or what's not happening? Not that those are the people, whatever they are, teacher, politician, or employer, they have a role, but where are we who are directly impacted? And Tim, as an educator, you understand the importance of that parent getting the child up, getting the child ready, getting the child fed, but also prepped and prepared and ready to learn.
Yeah.
100%, yeah, and that personal responsibility, that keeps diminishing, I think, and you're right, they need to start driving it themselves and looking after it and taking responsibility of themselves. But representing AIMA KMAN, it's the only multi-profession industry body, right? So it from our perspective, it's fantastic because we've got fund administrators, auditors, lawyers, directors, so all of the industries.
Yeah.
And very, very excited. And AIMA Global does a lot education-wise, but specifically this is the first time that we've really delved into schools and we can say, look, we're going to help these kids train them into choosing what they want to do, because I've got 2 kids within this age group and I can have personal experience of how difficult it is to determine what it is you want to do. So the fact that you're going to get these building blocks, help you make these decisions, and then knowing that you've got the opportunity to go into one of these firms and see what's actually happening is phenomenal. I mean, what these guys have done with Girl Force, first of all, and now this is really special.
And sorry, Ms. Christina.
And that's why I thought the partnership with AIMA combined with our partnership with the ministries was so perfect, because we want the kids to come in, and I don't expect them to know exactly what they're going to do. Some of the most interesting people that I know as adults don't know what they want to do. I mean, let's just be real, right? A lot of people fell into their career.
Yeah.
But if you can just tell us what you enjoy. I enjoy science. I enjoy maths. I enjoy reading. We will help you figure out what you can do with the things that you enjoy. And I think AIMA has such a breadth and such a depth, and it's just so important to our financial services industry and to our country that we can facilitate the relationships and connections within that to find placements for those kids.
And I appreciate you emphasizing that. And one thing I would again come back to us as parent, the driver, the motivator, but also the nurturer, the protector, and the provider. The child doesn't have more than likely that device unless we, as the parent, facilitated its acquisition somehow.
No.
And so with that in mind, if I understand the 15 or the 18-year-old who may at 30 and 40 only finding his or her way.
Yeah.
Sometimes the parent, while you want to get into financial services, you need to study accounting or law or finance. Well, no, the early days you might, like literature, you might find your path earlier and then come to that.
Yeah.
And look,
sorry.
We appreciate that not everyone is going to want to go into financial services.
Yes.
But at worst, they're going to be aware of what it is that we do here in Cayman, or at least what drives a lot of the economy here in Cayman. So it's not just for people wanting to go into financial services. It's going to be kids wanting to determine what it is they want to do in life and how they're going to contribute to the community.
Yeah. One of the things I loved about Girl Force was I loved the applications. I loved my girls who applied and said, I want to be a construction worker. Why do you want to be a construction worker? Because I can work hard, I can work with my hands, and I know I'll be a manager in no time.
But she's driven.
She's driven, and she knows what she want to do. And we want those kids. We want people who want to go into veterinary medicine. We want people who want to be construction workers. We want all of the kids, and we want to hear from them what they want to do. And we have enough relationships amongst ourselves to help facilitate that.
Exactly.
And
I like that. You shared that because she may end up being in construction management, right? But those skill sets may put her in an operating theater as
Yes.
an emergency physician.
That's exactly right, Starling.
Those are the things. And at 15, you don't quite know. Some of us do, but
Yeah.
not always get there.
Yeah.
So with that, maybe again through you, as you invite the teachers to submit, us as parents become involved in the offerings of the school
Yeah.
and say to little Johnny and little Susie, hey, did you know this was and sometimes they don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they know, but they dismiss it because how they heard the presentation, either half listening to the teacher or the friend said something and was immediately dismissed. Only later on you realize, oh, that's what that is. So again, get actively engaged, involved, informed as a parent so that your child isn't only relying on information from the school.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And the point that you make about parenting, like I have to say, I mean, my kids are, I have a 27-year-old. I also have a 17-year-old. It's hard to be a teenager right now. It really is. There's a lot of stuff out there that is really difficult to process that we did not have to deal with when we were teenagers. And so, talking from the perspective of a Maples partner, when I think about, we've given over $10 million to charity over, the last few years. We've taken over 100 students into scholarships, internships, work experience over the last 2 years. When I sit and I talk to those students, and I talk to almost all of them, their parents have struggled and sacrificed to put them through school. Yeah. And then they come to us and we train them. And I admire the firms in Cayman that make the effort. Not everybody can. Not all firms can. It's hard for a small business to do that. But, it takes a village to take a kid all of the way there. Yeah. But what I am hoping is that this program can serve as a platform for being a launch pad for our young people to get that kind of ambition. And I think it's harder. It's not easy to be a young person to understand, what is right for me? What is wrong for me? This person offered me this. Is that right for me? Is that wrong for me? To have communication with your parents, to hope that you're understood. It's just not easy anymore.
And I don't think that we appreciate sometimes that even we, the adult, looking back on her, formative years, the school days, our parents told us are your best days. Yeah. The child's going, really? I have to get up at this time of morning, go and do that thing.
Yes.
But it's not because you have less vacation or other things when you're working. It's the autonomy that you didn't realize you had, the opportunity that you weren't aware of. Yeah. And you only get that, thankfully, through the years. So what you're doing is giving that child that thing now that hopefully helps them to navigate a path that is more fulfilling.
Yeah. And I do have some sympathy for our young people. When I was between 15 and 18, I was still basically being a kid. I was still basically being a young person. Yeah. I wasn't being prepared for the workforce, really. I mean, I think actually I worked at, remember Gary Callan's hair studio? Like I just had a job, and I was, graduating from high school. I had my first job. I really didn't have a lot of worries. Like I had a stress-free life. When I see the pressure that our young people are under from social media, from peer pressure, from cyberbullying, from, just trying to understand the world around them, it is not easy.
And this is why I love what you've been sharing publicly, Ms. Christina, that we assign labels, the at risk, the inner city, and yet all of us, that child who has the most loving home, most supportive, whatever the need, but that child is still a child going through all the things that the developmental stages bring, and we may be oblivious to that. So every single child has a level of risk, some greater than others. Your program, and I convinced Career Masters is going to be even more exceptional because, I only wish instead of 500, you could have 5,000. Yeah. But that needs us to come on board, not just with money, but with a physical presence, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that we get more.
Yes. No, I hope so too. I'm very, very confident in this program. And, one of the things that I always love about listening to your show and the people that you interview is that when I listen to news channels, I listen to the BBC, I listen to CNN, I always leave so depressed about what's going on in the world. And when I listen to your wonderful show, I leave always so hopeful because there are positive, wonderful things going on in the world. And there are people doing great things. And, I can go to AIMA Cayman and I can say, listen, this is what I want to do for our community. And they go, you know what? We are a huge organization. We would love to step in and help you. There are fantastic things that are happening in the world. people just don't talk about them very much.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think, unfortunately, we have allowed a world to be where, what was it once said in the media, if it bleeds, it leads. We support, promote, and almost advocate the negative.
Yeah.
And the thing that's positive is a human interest story. We need to consciously celebrate the good, because there's more good than bad. But if you only see bad, you're going to think that's the dominant thing. But we also have to deliberately change your mindset. There's a practice in the Japanese culture in particular that does that.
Yeah.
That maybe on this part of the world we talk mindfulness, but they've had it for centuries.
Yeah.
You wake up, you're prayerful, you're purposeful, you're positive, and you position yourself so that when you impact the people around you, you give an energy that this exudes confidence and love.
Yeah.
It takes work, but it becomes your first nature.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. I mean, and when I originally thought about, a partnership with Aima Cayman, one of the things that I thought about was all of the fantastic work that they do in the financial services industry, but what Aima Cayman does globally. And I don't know, Tim, if you want to say a couple of words about that so people know.
Yeah.
I know.
Sure, of course. So, look, Aima Cayman, as I said, was cross-profession. So a huge amount of expertise that they provide to government, to the industry in general, and both locally and globally in particular. But the other thing, we talk about opportunities, is all of our members, what they really loved about Career Masters was it's not just a financial thing, right? Obviously, there needs to be support there, and all of them are very willing to do it. But it's actually been difficult to find the students to be able to figure out who it is they should contribute to, how they can do this. Now, obviously, the bigger firms have this in place, etc., but not all of our members are able to do that, have that kind of structure, because we have everything from individual investment managers through to small administrators to large administrators to big banks, etc., represented on our board. But they really wanted the opportunity to say, look, how can I find and give back? How can I support the community that we are operating in? Because every single one of the members wants to do that. I mean, they have to do it to a certain extent, but every single one wants to, because they are desperately looking for the next generation of people coming through. Everyone wants the best person to work for them, right? And so they're like, I want to train them. I want to find the people. I want to find the right type of person that I want to train up.
All right. Well, let's pause, take a break. I'm going to make sure I have my schedule, because I did something today that was quite interesting.
What?
I looked at the calendar. As of Monday rolled in this week, I thought it was Friday. You would not believe. Usually I'm a day or two ahead. For some reason today, I don't know where I'm at, but I'll tell you during the break. Let's just pause and then we'll come back and we'll see where we go, right?
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
The Cayman Islands is the newest UK overseas territory to join the Blue Belt program, and last week the Blue Belt team undertook a field visit to learn more about some of the challenges and opportunities for sustainable marine management on the islands. Together they identified where Blue Belt support could be most effective in supporting a broad range of issues related to sustainable fisheries management, preventing illegal fishing, managing protected areas, and water quality. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. As first responders wade through floodwaters and clear fallen trees and power lines after Hurricane Milton's passage through Florida last night, there is not yet a clear picture of the total number of deaths the storm may have caused. As reported earlier, 4 people were killed in St. Lucie County after multiple tornadoes hit the area, and St. Petersburg Chief of Police said 2 people had died in the central Florida city, but as they learn more about the post-storm picture in the state, they say the toll may go up. And the Princess of Wales has made an unexpected appearance alongside the Prince of Wales on a visit to Southport, where they held a private meeting with the bereaved families of 3 children killed in a knife attack in July. This was Catherine's first official public engagement since she finished her chemotherapy treatment. Royal sources say she decided to join Prince William to show her support, empathy, and compassion to the local community. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
The DVDL Customer Support Unit is now open. Customers can book appointments for written and driving tests through DVDL's hotline at 945-8344. That's 945-8344.
Marketers, creatives, and visionaries, are you ready to be inspired? Join Simpla's 11th Annual Marketing Conference, The Connect Experience, under the theme Icons and Innovators, October 11th and 12th at Hotel Indigo. Discover the latest trends in marketing innovation, sharpen your skills in hands-on workshops, and connect with industry leaders who are changing the game. Plus, celebrate the best of Cayman's marketing and creative professionals at Simpla's Awards Gala, honoring the icons and innovators in the field. Don't miss out. Secure your tickets online at simpla.ky/events.
Annually, the Family Resource Center leads the anti-bullying campaign Stood Up throughout the month of October. This year, the campaign's theme is #CyberKindnessKY, pause before you post, and is aimed at raising awareness of the harmful impact of cyberbullying behavior and educating children on responding safely and empowering parents with effective parenting strategies to intervene against cyberbullying and victimization. Teens ages 15 to 18 years old and parents are invited to the Teen and Parent Safety Training being held on October 12th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Stay informed and keep young people safe. Registration is required. Email frc@gov.ky for more details on this and their other Stood Up campaign details.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Water Authority Cayman is pleased to announce the return of Geology Education Week for 2024. The event is facilitated by the Water Authority and led by world-renowned geologist Dr. Brian Jones to promote local interest in the subject of geology. Scheduled to take place from Monday 7th October to Friday 11th October, the event will feature geology lessons for students at local high schools, including Cayman BRAC, and a professional development course for local educators and professionals that includes a field trip to sites of geological significance in Grand Cayman. Dr. Jones has been conducting research in the Cayman Islands for 40 years. He brings a wealth of knowledge and specific local expertise, which he shares with local educators and high school students. For more information on the Water Authority, please visit www.waterauthority.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us, and thanks to Miss Christina Borden-Daber and Tim Rossiter for sharing with me. I'm really, I think, excited about things as much as I am about education and health. And that, to me, those are your pillars in your community, because without a healthy, educated populace, all and anything else that the society may offer, from its mining and manufacturing to whatever, financial or, economic benefits. If your people are healthy and educated, and a healthy mind is crucial.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you just mentioned economic benefits.
Mm.
One of the things that I was thinking about when I created this program was the value of a balanced workforce and how that benefits a company.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been so fantastic to have Tim to kind of bounce these ideas off when I was creating this program, because he's been so knowledgeable in kind of the things that I've been trying to put together in my head. Because a diverse workforce is just a more productive one. And a more productive one is better for your bottom line.
Yeah.
And I think that's right. You want people of differing views to come together and come to decisions and push an agenda forward for a company so that it benefits everyone in the company. And I wanted to create an understanding for our students that that is the way the world works.
Yeah.
You know, you may encounter someone who thinks differently than you, and you might learn something from them.
You
know?
will if you pay attention.
And yeah, that's true. If you pay attention, you know, and it's funny. The philosopher Seneca said, "Luck is when preparation meets opportunity." And I know most people think that Oprah Winfrey said that, but she actually got it from Oprah. but actually, Seneca said that, and it's so true. And it's almost the foundation of this program. It is preparation meeting opportunity and creating your luck. You know, because we create our luck. You know, sometimes we get a break in life, but you have to be able, and I've said this before when I've been talking to students, you know, you may look forward in your life and you think that opportunities are going to be boundless. They're not boundless. You know, maybe in my life I've had maybe eight really good opportunities. I've identified maybe 6 of them, but I took advantage of all 6 of them because I saw them coming and I was prepared for them. And I think that's really valuable skills. You know, that's a really valuable skill.
She saw the opportunities there. Many of us don't.
No, that's true.
And whether it's 1 of 8 or 6 of 8, I mean, you're bad and great. But many of us don't see the opportunities. And we talk about hindsight being 20/20. Now, it's maybe the guy from the future returned and thought it was actually the year, but that's a different story. But those opportunities that are presented to us, we don't see them. And when we do, it may be in hindsight. How do we get the child today, the 15-year-old or that 13-year-old who's now going to be, you know, in short order, eligible to see this opportunity, to see what it's, you know, and it's going to mean that transformational change to that person's life.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's always bothered me is the broader world's view of Cayman and what we do and our role in the world, right? And it surprised me that, one, it's not taught. Both in our schools and even for the people that move here in the professional services firms. They don't really understand what it is that Cayman does. And there's a lot of, you know, I guess, fantasies out there made up by Hollywood in the world, right? But not really understanding what it is we do, the crucial role that we play, and how it's positive and not negative.
Yeah.
And that's worse on our kids because they only get to see that. Like you were talking about the pressures they're getting. They're seeing the TikToks, the YouTubes or whatever. All these uninformed people, because it's really unusual what we do here, right? There's always been trading ports. There's always been means of transporting capital and communication, etc. But you know, Cayman is the preeminent jurisdiction for funds. We are colloquially the plumbing, if you will, of financial services, and that doesn't exist anywhere else, which means it's not taught anywhere else in the world. So you need to be able to give those tools to our teachers to say, this is what Cayman does. This is why it's actually positive, not negative, and why they need to understand whether or not they want to do financial services, but what it is that Cayman does, what their home does, and the contribution to the world.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you share that, because those of us who either have worked or have people in lives that have or do work, we understand that. But we allow many, whether it's in the media internationally or whether it's even some within our own shows, to make disparaging comments.
To manipulate that.
Yeah. I am... You know, I don't believe in coincidences, right? So this morning I had a 1-hour discussion with the most phenomenal, gifted intellect that I know. She's just amazing. And it's not just the eloquence, it's the humility, the humanity that exists in her, but also the honesty and integrity of when she's chatting. It's just a phone call. And in sharing and listening, and I'll reflect and feel led to ask, in our communities, are we allowing people, whether out of maliciousness or they're just ill-informed, to make those disparaging comments?
Yeah.
And what you just shared, if we understood that, right? If you'd allow us, you know, Mr. Joel Walton, for instance, right? Cayman Shipping, on a world stage, this fella and Cayman Shipping has, an amazing presence.
Yeah, and when you learn about exactly what he's done, how they've built that up, it is an incredible story.
Yeah,
I remember being amazed by learning about that. Yeah, but you're right. There's a number of those.
So why is it that? And this is why I'm so excited, Miss Christina, that you'd come on talk about this. And I kid you not, I would love for this to be every student because we talk about risk, right? For those of us who've done graduate programs, say an MBA, we're probably surprised that one of the students, if not many, are engineering students.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why is that engineering student doing an MBA?
Yeah.
It's the same reason why the literature student is.
You know, we see, at least from where I sit at Maples, we also give non-legal scholarships, right, as part of our work in the community. And I'm always so interested to see the different types of fields that kids want to go into, whether it's healthcare, whether it's engineering, whether it's an interest in, a degree in communications, or whether it's a degree in music, or whether it's, interior design, or whether it's, all of these different things. It just makes me so happy to see the breadth of interest that kids have. I had a really interesting conversation with a young man from John Gray the other day who wants to work for a video game company, not creating video games, but he wants to create the music behind the video game that you hear when you're playing it. That's what he wants to do. And I was like, how do you do that? He's like, Miss Christina, there's software. And you learn how to operate the software, and you compose the music on the software to match the video game. Like, that just was mind-blowing to me that is actually a career. But literally, you can make so much money doing that, working for these video game companies, and that's his dream. That's what he wants to do.
My son wants to do the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. But I remember thinking the same thing, going, I didn't realize.
But think about it, right?
Yeah.
They're at a space now where, as you shared, they are introduced, we'll use that word, to so much that we never knew, whether we're 50 or 35 or 70, right? And to your point, we watch a film, the score, right, is an original score. No, it's not two games being played, but it's the music composition to that, and that informs either our enjoyment or anticipation of the next scene.
Tap straight into our emotions,
Yeah.
But then if you step back for a second, how do you teach them to go after that particular career? So this is part of why this is so amazing, Career Masters, right? You're saying, okay, I'm going to help you with those tools because, again, the teachers are taught how to teach, and they're taught to teach traditional subjects. They're not taught how to go into a career, etc. Now they've got the counsellors that do that, etc. But when it comes to K-Man, it's like, well, how do I learn about what it is that K-Man does and its place in the world? So we can't expect them to teach that, right? We need to go in and teach them and show them the tools, give them the tools. So they don't have the capacity, even if they have the knowledge, to be able to do that, which is why this is so special. Because you can then go, okay, no, we're going to take that off your plate. We're going to come in. We're going to help you. What we need is your specialty to say, these are the kids we think you'd start with, and these are the ones we should expand to, etc. But this is how you're going to do it. So that way they're not having to do even more. Which is why this is so fantastic. Well, part of the reason.
And in terms of choice of career, right? Michelle Obama says, if you can't see it, you can't be it. One of the things that I think is so great about the exposure to the network through AMA, the exposure through the network through financial services, and our industries at large, is that we can show our young people all of the options that are out there. It's amazing the number of careers that you can have, not only what they can think of, not only what they can see on social media, some of which is just nonsense, right? It's
Thanks
just
for saying that.
Nonsense. Like, I'm the CEO of a company. Well, you actually have to learn to be a CEO of a company before you can say that you are. But we can show them all of the possibilities that there are. And then they can say, well, man, I never thought about that. I would actually really enjoy that. I do like talking to people, or I do like, I don't know what it is.
And you can change.
And you can change.
It's adoption. You can adopt.
Because you can't tell a 15-year-old, look, you're going to make a decision for the rest of your life right now. And that's what they're being told at school. And it's like, no. There are other options.
In anticipation of our discussion today, I was chatting with a friend, and like many sometimes do, what's on the show? And he asked if I could share this. Can't say who it is, but I enjoy his company. And, I remember the day he retired, right? 40 plus years working. And I mean, I say 40 plus, I mean 40 plus, like 50 plus. And I thought, he had two careers. He worked for two places, all in the same sector. And today is, you're not going to buy you lunch because this is a great day. You must have enjoyed it. You know what he told me?
What?
Hated every minute.
That's so sad.
But you see, you're responsible. You're taught that you go to work early, you show up, you do it. He was a great employee. He contributed. He was rewarded, but was never any enjoyment, any fulfillment. And he tells a lot of us who are many years his junior, you find that thing that you like. You pursue that passion. If it's the money that you want in order to support your family is one thing, but that cannot be your motivator.
Yeah.
Right? And when he sees all the opportunities that exist, when he goes and volunteers and mentors and does stuff, he wants us as the younger ones, even if we're in our 40s, are you happy in your job?
Yeah.
You know, it's not too late to study something else.
I so agree.
Yeah.
It's so agree.
Yeah.
One of the things that I tell, and it is a hard sell because you can't see that far ahead. When you're young, you can't see that far ahead, but you will most likely not have one career. You might have an initial career, and then a door opens, and then you have another career. You know, you might end up working a job, and then all of a sudden you decide to become a chef. And so you go to culinary school and you become a chef, and then you open a business, and then, you know, it's a long life. And so you can end up doing a variety of really interesting things that you love over a period of time. But having said that, we have all had to do a job to get a paycheck in our lives. And sometimes it's just necessary to do that. God knows I've had to do that in my life.
Oh, yeah. You've got to do the hard work, too.
You got to do the hard work, too.
Like you said earlier, you got to be responsible. And you got to understand that.
Final break, Miss Susan. And when we come back, we invite you maybe to wrap it up, share with us whatever else you want to share, and hopefully how we can partner in every way.
Oh,
excited. Career Masters. Maybe I can go back and be a student again. All right, join us right after.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thank you so much, and to all of our parents and educators, to our coaches and mentors, and everyone who positively influences the lives of our young people. A special personal thanks. We all can see someone who was so instrumental and influential in our lives that we are where we are today with confidence, with a sense of fulfillment. To Miss Christina Ward and Tim Rossiter, thank you. Career Masters, just the term alone, I think is engaging. But as we look at it, we look at people who, there's a master class for this one. There's the master chef, the master plumber, the master lecturer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? There's all these things, but when you can appreciate that at 15, for instance, you don't need to know everything.
No.
Right? You might have an inkling of what you want. You may actually be like one of my good friends who, I'm sure this was the case. In the womb, he decided that he was going to be a physician. And it was no deviation, right?
Yeah.
But how many of us actually know that? I mean, I thought I was going to be a spy. James Bond, 0015.
That's all the John le Carré novels that you've read. And I've read them too. I would want to be a spy too. We would be such good spies.
I'd be a terrible spy.
Yeah? No, you'll be good, man. You'll be
I'm
good.
the worst poker player in the world.
No, man.
You know what? I have to thank you so much for today, Sterling, and I have to thank a couple of people. First of all, I have to thank our teachers. Our teachers in our participating schools, they have been so helpful in their feedback on the program, their enthusiasm for the program, their engagement. Thank you so much. I'm shouting out John Gray, Clifton Hunter, Cayman Prep, St. Ignatius, Cayman International School, and Lehman Scott. Thank you, teachers. We are so excited to work with you and work with you closely in this program. But I also want to thank our hardworking operating committee, not only our ministry officials, a very sweet and special shout out to Lynette Monteith, Head of Department of Education, who is always behind my ideas, no matter what they are, for our young people. Thank you so much, Miss Lynette. But I also want to thank Kelly Sage from Ramp Consulting, who is actually my partner in this program. Janine Aldeger from Collis Krill, who did legal work on the program. Thank you so much. Anna Brown from Conyers, Lara Diesel from KPMG. KPMG are always so involved and engaged in so many community initiatives. Adele Anderson, Sarah Dombowski from Walkers, and of course Maples for their support as well. Thank you so much.
Someone like when you go up to receive your Oscar.
Yeah.
I just like how
so smooth.
This is so amazing.
I want to thank the Academy.
Multi-talented.
Yeah.
I can see a spy. We would.
I'm sorry, I have outed you. No, but this is what, as we close, this is what reading does for us, right?
Yeah.
Our vacation may not have always been annual.
Mm-hmm.
It may not have been further than the backyard. For me, it was under the coconut tree, independent where the sun was.
Same for me, Sterling.
Yeah, from one hummock to the next, right?
Yeah.
And I thank my sisters because they found books that I just love to read.
No.
But Tim,
did you ever cut your knee and your grandma tell you to go take a nap?
or get punished for taking your books away because Anyway,
that's another conversation. Let's go back to Tim.
I like that one though.
That's true. Look, and when you're doing, and you talked about this earlier, right? It's about people.
Yes.
People that inspire, and
yes.
as you said, Christina inspires,
does.
And what we've seen with Girl Force was incredible. And when this was brought to AIMA Cayman a few months ago, it was like, actually, it was before the summer, thinking, wow, what is this? As we got into it, thought about it, and ultimately you invest in a person, and we invested in Christina, Kelly, and the team. I mean, every one of the people they mentioned there is phenomenal, and what they're doing is phenomenal. So AIMA Cayman and AIMA Global were very proud to be able to support this initiative. And look, if what do they say? My apologies. When someone replicates what you do, it's the sincerest.
Oh yeah,
flattery.
imitation is the greatest.
Imitation. Thank you. Why I can't be on the radio or a spy. But look, hopefully this has worked out around the world based on what they're doing here. It inspires our kids, and at the very least understand what it is that we're doing, and they can make a good choice.
This spy can be a chameleon, or you can just hide in plain sight.
Or you can just I can imagine Tim at dinner. Actually, I have to tell everyone I'm a spy. I can't keep it to myself anymore.
I just took those things.
No, thank you both, and we certainly want to invite you as often as possible, whatever partnerships with the wider community, and to our teachers as they look at the selection. Sometimes that child who may seem the most unlikely, tap on the shoulder. I thank my teachers for that. I mean, I was a quiet, unassuming, very shy individual.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I bet there is a teacher's name you can still remember to this day that made a difference to you, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you mentioned, I'm like, I remember Mrs. Rita when I was year one or year two, etc. But like they're just incredible people.
It's interesting. I can remember many of them, and with deference to most of them, Mrs. Bromfield, without question. But I also remember one that was on the other side of the coin. I did not like that class. I would not take that class ever again because I didn't like the way it was taught. It was rote. It was you were supposed to regurgitate. There was no space for thinking. I thank Mr. Bordeaux for allowing me to explore my willingness to think. See where I am today? Who knows? I'm going to have a job tomorrow, but I'll think. Miss Christina, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Miss Susan, thanks, man. You have any cake? Go fish, she says. No.
Go fish.
It's tomorrow Friday.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yes,
finally it's Friday tomorrow.
It's Friday.
I thought Monday was Friday. I'll be honest with you, it is. Even the things I wore.
Did you ever see that movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, where he kept waking up and it's the same day?
Yeah. Well, that's Groundhog Day on steroids. I'll be honest with you. I've not had a week like this ever. It's been interesting. But
well, you know what? Fake it until you can make it.
No,
Look, you
see,
did. And you've had a great week.
No, I had a great week. Faking it, being false, it's not me, you know. But then again, you know, who can be me? All right, we're going to call it a day. Thank you all so much. Please join Mr. Art for the record come tomorrow morning. I think I know what we're doing tomorrow, but who knows? We might.
Wing it if you don't.
Yeah, if not. But I know what I'm doing this afternoon, though.
Okay.
That's for tonight's discussion. Right. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway. Open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.